Hello and welcome to a special spooky bonus episode of Games Every Designer Should Play, the podcast that explores what aspiring and seasoned designers can learn from some of the greatest games of all time. I'm Stuart Lilford, the friendly ghost of game design, and I'm joined by two brainless zombies.
Dastardly David Grant.
And the abominable Adrian Mills.
Brilliant. In each episode, we'll be discussing one essential game and what we can learn from it. Usually at the end of the episode, one of us reveals to the other what we'll be playing next episode. But because this is a bonus episode, we're not doing that. We kind of chose...
We already know what we're playing. What we're playing, Stuart?
Katamari. The Katamari game.
Yeah. Which one? Katamari?
The first one. But in this episode, the game we'll be discussing is Mouthwashing. Yeah, and fair warning, spoilers for the game. We're going to be talking about story elements from Mouthwashing.
Mm-hmm.
We strongly advise that you play the game before listening/watching this. So just pause the video, pause the podcast.
Yeah. I'd also just add in as well, there's a content warning as well. This game does deal with subjects that some people might find distressing, disturbing. It is a horror game. But it's not a horror. It's not a spooky horror game. It's
like psychological.
It's psychological, but it's definitely within that, and there's certain themes and things that happen.
The themes that it probably will. There's issues around suicide and
sexual abuse.
Sexual assault. So if those sound like things that will you don't want to listen to, then we've given you a fair warning there. But first, a few notes on the game supplied by Adrian, because you suggested this actually. You'd played this before.
It's the third in my long-running series of games I've just played to talk about.
The other two being Cocoon and Thank Goodness You're Here.
Yes, absolutely. So it's kind of quick, easy game sort of thing, which kind of fit in quite well to what we're doing. But so Mouthwashing, this is just from the wiki, and I'll just sort of paraphrase some stuff because it's easier than I could write it myself, but it's all somebody already has. So why do I? Why not?
Why bother?
Yeah, it's a 2024 Swedish horror adventure game developed by Wrong Organ, published by Critical Reflex. The game itself follows the 5 crew members of the freighter spaceship the Tulpar after a mysterious crash leaves them stranded in space, trapped within a supplies dwindle. The team behind Mouthwashing included Kai Moore, producer, the audio designer Martin Halden, art and narrative Johanna Kasurainen, sorry if I get these names wrong, designer and programmer Jeffrey Tomek, technical designer Dave Van Egdom, and it's clearly inspired by quite a few films. It's not hard to see that it's inspired by things like Alien, Event Horizon, Sunshine, Shining, Pandora, and things like that. Mouthwashing, this was first announced as part of a free update. Weirdly, the free update was inspired by Katamari Damacy.
What?
Yeah. To their previous game, their debut title, Wrong Organ's debut title, How Fish is Made.
Right.
I think I've seen that game before.
I haven't seen it.
Is that another psychological horror?
No, you play as a fish, and it's all about. I've read it's about capitalism and making choices or something, and it's how the fish is made is really like how the sausage is made. You really don't want to know how these things.
It's still kind of psychological because there's like you're going around as a fish, and there's other fish like basically blocking your way, and to get through, you have to like kill them or things like that.
I think. If I had to, it's interesting because I think that it's Thank Goodness You're Here, their first game.
Good Time Garden.
It sounds a similar kind of evolutionary step.
Yeah.
As you make that kind of small first thing and then you make a more, bigger second game. I think it seems to be in that kind of thing. This demo for this was released during the Steam Next Fest in February 2024. It got very positive reception and it released on Steam in September. It was well received by audiences. It got overwhelmingly positive rating on Steam. It's got a very, very big fan base, this, supposedly. A lot of fan art I've read.
Okay.
I've read around and seen,
right.
Which is very odd for this game.
It is, yeah.
But, you do you.
Yeah.
It was nominated for Game of the Year Award.
It's not fan art, it's participatory culture,
whatever it is. The 2024 Indie Game Awards. It won quite a few awards as well. It got the Horror Game Awards. It won Best Narrative and the Player's Choice. It got nominated for Game of the Year and Narrative at the Indie Game Awards, and it was nominated for Outstanding Story Rich Game in the Steam Awards that was in 2025. 2024, the New York Game Awards, it won Chumley's Speakeasy Award for Best Hidden Gem.
Wow. quite the accolade.
It is quite the accolade. I mean, I'd be putting that on my CV. Well, I would anyway.
Chumley.
Good old Chumley. The DICE Awards, 28th Annual DICE Awards, it got nominated for Outstanding Achievement for an Independent Game, nominated for Best Narrative at the Game Developers' Choice Awards, and at the IGF Independent Games Festival, it had honourable mentions in the Seamus McNally Grand Prize, Excellence in Audio, and Excellence in Narrative. So, well received. But is this a game that every designer should play? And if so, what can we take from it?
What can we?
I got a bit jump scared then when you said
yeah, there you go. See, speaking, keeping in theme with Halloween.
One of the things, just from what you said there, and just thinking back to Thank Goodness You're Here, that idea of starting small and building on it, is probably a good bit of advice for new designers, new game designers, or game developers.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think sometimes it's easy to come at this and think, well, I think we kind of touched on this maybe when we were talking about game jams
plenty of times
in the last a few times. But yeah, just start small. Don't try and make your 30-hour epic game as your first game. Make a short 5-minute experience, or even less than that, and just kind of use that experience to build on it each time.
Yeah. It's easy to finish something short.
Yeah.
You're not gonna. Your first game isn't gonna be this perfect, massive game that's really popular, and
your first game is not going to be good.
No.
And I think that your first attempt at anything is not very good. Just listen to the first episode of this podcast.
Is it not very good?
Well, I think it's brilliant, but
that's about the first-person shooter Portal, isn't it?
But yeah, I think making small games is a good bit of advice. I'm also curious, why did you pick this game?
I just played it, which is always a good one. I've said this before, but I played it. I would sort of been reading around, and I'd seen it, and I thought that looked quite an interesting game to actually sort of play. I was in the sort of mood. I just finished Clair Obscure, Expedition 33, and I played that for most of the summer. And I was kind of looking for something that was just a bit short and smaller, and it was, I was thinking, having a look around, and I heard someone mention it, and I thought I had a look at what it was, thought it sounded quite interesting, bought it on Steam, gave it a playthrough, thought that is actually quite an interesting game, and then we were just discussing maybe we should do something for Halloween. I just played this. I thought it'd be a good fit, and I think that it does do, and I think it's quite good because it does some things really well that we haven't done. We haven't done a walking sim.
I think Thank Goodness You're Here is probably the closest we've got.
Is the closest we've got, yeah. But that's in a very, very different tonality.
Oh, yeah,
quite.
Yeah. Although there are some sort of some dark elements like the meat part and everything in that game.
Oh yeah,
there's some dark elements to Thank Goodness You're Here.
It's still visceral.
Yeah, and things like that. And yeah, so there's some good things that it does, and I thought it's a good game because there's some things it does not so well.
There's a couple of things I was going to bring up actually, but just to tie into what you said as well, and about the fact that it is a short game. I finished in 3 hours. I think you were like 2 hours or something like that.
It was a couple of hours as well.
There is a space for short games. I think and there's a local, a Yorkshire-based game developer, Andrew Crawshaw, who worked on Everybody's Gone to the Rapture and Amnesia: Machine for Pigs. He very much champions the idea of just making short experiences because not everybody has got the time to spend 40 hours in a campaign for a kind of a big game, myself included. So this was a nice game to you can play through in kind of one sitting.
Yeah. And I also thought as well it kind of fitted into what we're doing, and it was a sort of step away from, which is obviously just done. Keep Talking Over an Explosion, just on Isaac, Binding of Isaac. Again, it was looking at something different, looking at and also just it was themed around Halloween, which I thought was quite a nice fit because I wanted something for that.
Yeah, works really well. What do you think to it, David?
It was mostly what I expected. I hadn't really seen that much. I'd seen at most like one of the main characters, Curly, on the bed.
Oh yeah,
wrapped up in bandages.
Yeah, I've seen that a bunch of times. Or the image with him sat in front of a cake and things.
Yeah, that's the main iconography of this game.
Yeah,
it's what they use. Although it's not really what the game's.
Yeah,
about.
Not quite.
It's kind of totally.
Yeah. What about Curly?
Yeah. Curly is kind of Curly's the sort of main topic.
Yeah,
should we say? But it's not. what the
Well,
game's about.
Yeah, the game touches on a lot of themes, but so just to. Well, I guess to the story might be a good place to start
Well,
with
it's
this
because
one.
I think the positives. Let's start with the positives, and that's the story.
The story is, and the way it's told is interesting as well. And the fact they take advantage of the fact that it is a first-person game, insofar as you can't ever be certain who you're actually playing as at certain points in the game. The first section specifically. Because this is a massive spoiler, but you start the game and then you basically intentionally crash the ship as the player.
Can we talk about? Well, no. Yes, you do, but just to talk about that bit. Yeah, the game is. I just want to talk about that opening section because I think that it does a really good thing in that you as the player, your instinct is to steer left.
Yeah,
so basically,
it comes up saying you're about to collide. We advise that you steer left,
and then all your option is steer right.
Yeah,
it does a very good thing in that you are not the player; you are the character. The character you are playing at that point is doing this for a particular reason.
Yeah.
So it's making you as the player complicit in what happens.
Yeah,
you are. And games are good at doing that. I mean, the classic example, if you haven't played The Last of Us, go play The Last of Us, but I'm quite free to talk about a 12-year-old game. The choice at the end, where a lot of people said, I would never have done what Joel did. It's like, yeah, but you're not Joel. Joel is Joel. You have to do what Joel is because you've got no choice.
Yeah.
To progress the game, you need to do that because that's what Joel would do. And games are good at putting you in a situation where it's like, oh, I won't do that, but making you feel something that you feel a little bit guilty about.
Yeah, and this game does a good job, I think, of making you feel certain. It's very like a motive game.
Yeah.
And I think it does. Yeah, that opening section kind of touches on aspects of player agency because. I guess from just with me and you have taught games on for 10 years. How often have you seen the students' game pitch where they say it's open world, you can do literally anything you want, you've got completely free reign. They basically it's real life in a game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I wanted that, I would just play real life. I'd live my life. But I think what games do is they just they can put you in the position of somebody else, and a lot of the times you feel like you want to give the player some agency, which the game does do. But I think it's a very powerful statement taking it away completely.
Yeah.
You cannot progress until you've made this decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you solve a little puzzle, don't you, with the key. You find the key, and then the big red button pops up.
Yeah.
And you think, surely the big red button will stop this, and it's like override auto.
Yeah, override auto.
Oh, this makes it even worse.
Yeah.
I remember right at the beginning, like when that popped up and it's like stir right, I was like, wait, that's gonna crashes. So I went away and I was like looking around the whole place to see if I can find anything.
Nope.
And it's like, they're gonna make me crash the ship, aren't they?
And it almost breaks your immersion because obviously as a player you're trying to you're making choices how you might deal with the situation or how you want to in that particular playthrough or whatever. But when it kind of it almost breaks you out of it, it makes you think, oh, actually I'm playing through this story. It almost reminded me a little bit of Metal Gear Solid 1 when it's the scene right at the end with Grey Fox and you've got the rocket launcher and you have to destroy the thing, but your character, no matter how many times you pull trigger, your character Solid Snake, he won't do it. He's like, I can't do it because like Grey Fox is his best mate.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't. He just says, I can't do it. And so it's like again taking away that player agency and that's a really memorable moment from that game. And I think it felt the same with this one. It was a big kind of I'm not in control.
And I think
I was just gonna say that massively ties in with the story itself as well. Like all the characters, I think apart from Anya, they don't get a choice in like what happens to them in a sense. Like, well, I suppose even Anya as well. Like, what's his name? Is it
Swansea?
Hanske?
Oh, Danosuke. What's his name?
Dansuke or something.
Yeah, the young guy.
Like, he doesn't get any say in what happens to him. Like, he gets offed by Swansea, gets an axe to the head. He gets like forced into the vent, like basically what's the word? He
coerced
into going into the vent.
Yeah.
The captain, he gets forced into the what do you call it? The cryogenic pod.
Yeah, I
at the
guess
end
lack
as well.
of control. Is,
a lot of
is
the
a big
crew,
theme,
a lot of
actually.
the crew members don't have control over their own fate in a sense with like what happens, because what's his name, Jimmy? He kind of takes that away from pretty much every member in the ship if you probably think about it.
Yeah, Daisuke.
Daisuke, yeah.
Daisuke. Just to and I think that's there's a lot to be said about the story, because the story starts in the middle. So the game starts in the middle of the story. So that's the thing with you think we play a game and we usually start in a game and it's the story starts in the story, but this starts the term is in media res, so it starts in the middle of the action. We're already in it. The crash has already happened, the past has already happened, the time we will sort of come to has actually already by the time we get to the end of it, you can almost think that the actual present, what we're sort of looking at, is way few months in the future. So we can't change that crash happening. That crash happens no matter what we do.
Yeah.
So it kind of it sort of pulls the rug from under your feet by utilising a narrative trick by just and not telling you that it's doing that.
Yeah.
So it starts in the middle of the story because we go back in time and we go forward in time. This crash is a kind of a central pivot point, but it's already happened. It has to happen.
And I think the way they tell it adds a lot of mystery involved.
Oh, yeah. That's,
obviously, you're like, why did they crash the ship? And they repeat this kind of motif throughout the whole experience, this kind of sense of mystery. Another example is when you're in one of the flashbacks and you receive a fax. You don't read it. You've got no idea what it says, and then the next thing you know, you're having to kind of break the news. Your objective is break the news to the crew, and so you as the player, you're not sure what's the news, what's going on.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot, and there's certain, because it happens in a non-linear fashion, you're trying to kind of piece together things. I feel like we've spoken about this before, and we brought up Memento.
Yes, probably.
What were we talking about? What game was it?
What game? What have we done? It might have been, could have been Titanfall 2 with jumping around in the story, time travel bit.
Don't think
Inscription?
So.
Could have been Inscription.
Might have been Inscription.
Wouldn't have been bad.
Because Inscription, you start at the end of the game, kind of.
We mentioned Memento I mentioned Memento. We probably all do as a good example of the way to tell a story in a different format. Interestingly, I would say this, I think on the DVD or the Blu-ray release, you can watch it in chronological order.
Yeah.
It's not very interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think we've made the point where what we say is by telling the story out of sequence.
Yeah, absolutely.
It makes it it almost elevates the narrative and makes it kind of more interesting because you're adding that mystery element. But I can't remember what we were talking about at all. It's completely gone.
If you haven't seen Memento, go watch Memento.
Yeah,
it's a very good film.
It is
Christopher
a good film.
Nolan. It's very good. Yeah. So and that opening sequence as well is it's also quite interesting as well because the way that the game starts and the way that the game ends are very different to the main bulk of the game of what you will be doing. So the opening part of it, when I first started playing, I was disoriented because I think that's what the game wants you to do. You're going down through a series of corridors that dead end, and you have to double back, and then something changes, and you're just going through these things. But I liked the way that it was doing its sort of environmental storytelling with the posters.
Yes.
So the sort of corporate posters.
Yeah.
Make sure you get enough sleep.
Yeah.
You don't be too tired. Sleep too long though, and you'll lose some pay.
Yeah, all those little kind of the fine print. It was Return of the Obra Dinn, by the way. We were talking about.
Okay.
And we were talking about how
course.
it's told in London. Yeah.
Yes. The obvious one. Yeah.
One of my picks as well, which is a bit more embarrassing. I can remember it. But yeah, I think the way that first sequence with all the posters. The whole kind of that first opening section was quite impactful, and also just kind of in terms of the way it tells the story, it uses a lot of smash cuts.
Well, it doesn't smash cut so much as it does that weird
glitch cut.
It freezes and glitches.
Well, yes,
Yeah.
I think there are some smash cuts, but yeah, it does do the glitching thing as well.
Yeah.
And you've seen. I think it's a good technique in terms of storytelling. Smash cuts. We see it in Firewatch. They do it. So you're doing something, and then all of a sudden it'll be like day 17.
Yeah.
Like, all right, okay.
Yeah.
Or 30 Flights of Loving is another example
Yeah.
where they use smash cuts effectively to, again, tell a non-linear
And condense
story.
space as well when you're moving through spaces. But yeah, so this one, uses a kind of weird sort of glitchy sort of MPEG
Yes,
sort of glitching sort of
yeah.
weird wipe.
Yeah, like the audio starts to glitch out.
Yeah, and it freezes sort of thing. And the first time I played it, I thought it had crashed.
Yeah, it was quite effective.
It's a good, yeah,
Like,
it's good.
But then it kind of all wiped, and I was like, oh, okay, I quite like that. But and it can happen at any point because sometimes I bring up my inventory and it'd freeze, and it does it in the
Yeah.
inventory as well. If you've got the
Yeah.
inventory open, a glitch. Obviously, it's just a shader across the screen.
Yeah,
From
they use it
development point of
visually
view.
in a few different places as well, that kind of glitchy effect.
Yeah, there's a bit later on in it when you've got to go search for the disinfectant, and you go into the
Medical
room,
med bay or
and
whatever. Yeah,
the left half of it is just
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah.
That's a really kind of strong section when you're like, what? Why is the player character blocked out whatever has happened?
yeah, because I think
Yeah.
just prior to that, you were trying to break into the medical
Yes.
room. You do a load of stuff, and then you finally get in there, but it's just like, all right, we're not gonna look at this. It's all blurred off. You can't see anything. You don't know what's happened, and then like a bit later, you get the proper
Yes.
reveal of it,
Yeah.
sort of quite far towards the end.
But
Yeah.
that it all adds to kind of disorient the player.
Yeah,
And they do this with the environment as well, where sections where you're walking one way and it's locked, so you turn around and go back the other way, and then the environment's changed. So they're almost trying to make the player feel like they're not in that theme of not being in control. You don't like at any point the game could just smash cut to something else.
Yeah,
You don't know what.
Well, and it also does that with that use of those big sort of text interstitial things which just pop up. Take responsibility.
Yeah. Or things just go.
I hope
Yeah.
this hurts or whatever, and just will pop up
Yeah.
just like a massive screen of it. There's one bit where I think where you're trying. There was the bit where you've got to remove the gravestone, and you have to use the code scanner.
yeah,
And if you walk past it and try to go the other way, it just flings you back.
Yes.
Just flings you backwards,
Yeah.
and you go like, no, take responsibility, go back.
Yeah.
Take responsibility. It's like, and that idea of take responsibility is one of the themes of the game. It's not the main one, but it's kind of a bit hammered home, that one, I think. But yeah, so there is that. But yeah, I think it does very interesting ways in which it sort of puts its story together to allow you to piece it together what happens, and also there's some really nice sort of little subtle details as well that might not be picked up on in terms of the main story, because obviously I mean the main throughput story is the character you never play as. One of the characters, I mean, you obviously play as Curly and Jimmy, don't you? But it's Anya is is one of the is probably the reason for everything.
Yes.
And she's not the cause, and I'm not putting the blame on her.
No,
yeah.
The root cause, and the root cause of this the whole game is Jimmy.
Yes.
And
He's a
and the
messed up
captain.
individual.
the captain,
Yeah.
because the captain doesn't act on what
he's
he should act upon.
complacent.
He's
Basically,
complicit.
yeah.
Yes.
He's
Yeah.
he's complicit. So, I mean, is it the place to sort of talk about the story? Should we talk?
So the fact that the sort of the cat, it's sort of like the catalyst for the events of the game.
Yeah.
Because Anya becomes pregnant from a sexual assault.
Yeah. Jimmy rapes
Yeah.
her.
From
Jimmy rapes Anya, and she
Yeah.
becomes pregnant. There's the line about why don't they? What's the line? Did you ever notice they put locks on the medicine cabinets, but not on the door, not on the
Yeah.
sleeping quarters?
Yeah.
Like, do you wonder why they do that?
But it's not explicit. It isn't. I don't think it's really explicit about it. It's kind of like it's implied.
I think there's a line somewhere where she does say to the captain, "You knew." You never. I don't think this is the conversation where she tells the captain,
No.
but there is a line somewhere later on. I think just before what happens when Anya commits suicide, that she does tell him. She says something about, and you knew.
Yeah.
And he's like trying to, because he's like, well, Jimmy's my mate, and he's, I'm trying to do the right thing, and all,
Yeah, because he was originally, did he have like a criminal record on Earth or something? And
Jimmy,
then, yeah,
possibly,
and then the captain basically helped get him
he got
a
him the
job.
job, yeah.
So he kind of felt responsible, I guess.
Yes.
And needed to take responsibility
Yeah.
or whatever. But I think what I want to, in terms of that specific story point, and it's not the main story point, but like we said, it's the catalyst for the rest of the game, I think.
Yeah, it is, because it's why Jimmy crashes the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. But I think so here's my question. Is it problematic that the only female character in the game is a victim of sexual assault, and like that's used as it's used as the catalyst for the two male characters on the ship, and telling, because the game tells their story. Those are the two characters you play as.
I would argue that the game for me is like that. You could see that if the game did focus on them, but I think there is, and I think that's one argument. But there is elements of this where Anya is. I think the game is purposely putting you in. A lot of games will use so you can have sexual assault, or there'll be, especially horror games. They'll deal in those issues, things like Silent Hill 2 and things like that, and those kind of elements. I think this game goes interestingly it goes like a step further beyond that, and sort of you don't usually get a game where you're sitting in the aftermath and having to watch characters kind of, especially in what is essentially just a trapped location. You're in a location, so you might get TV dramas where you have that kind of thing, and films where you deal with that sort of thing. It's very unusual to have a game where that character has had this happen to them and they can do nothing about it and they're just trapped. And I think that's quite, and it does. I don't think it uses it for titillation. I don't think it uses it for exploitation. I think this is a sort of a the character is, we're made to feel like, it's just horrible. And that's where the horror in this game comes from.
Yeah,
it's one of the areas.
Yeah, it highlights how messed up.
Yeah.
The two player characters are really. I wasn't trying to say I don't know whether it is problematic or it isn't, but I thought it was probably a point worth mentioning.
I think he's right.
She's the only female character in the game, and she's sexually assaulted, and it's used to kind of propel the narratives for the two male characters. Probably just, I don't know. I think it's done as well as it could have been done.
I think and obviously it's a setup. There was there's the characters. I did wonder if would have a trip that's going to take 387 days, whatever it is, would they have just sent out 4 blokes and a woman?
Well, the Pony Express as a company probably would have done. Yeah, they don't care.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, because
horrible corporate don't really care about the people.
Yeah. And I suppose this, obviously this is set in the future. There's a horrible dystopian nature to the whole situation. I don't know. I mean, I did think that, but I thought, they're probably. They're probably not bothered.
No.
I did think as well with the Anya character. I did wonder, like, there's a trope in a lot of things, in a lot of stories where there's a female character. They're always a nurse. You see that in, like, they're either nurses or they're cooking.
Right. Okay.
Watch dystopian TV shows, films, anything like that. It's usually the woman's the nurse,
right? Yeah.
Or it's very unusual for them generally not to be. And you can see that in a lot. And I was like, she's a nurse again, okay. And they're not a very good one. She can't even do a job. She's failed. She can't even get into medical school, I think, as Jimmy sort of points out at one point.
Yeah.
So I think there was that element to this. I was like, you could have been anything. She could have just been forced into that role because, as the only, that might have taken another swipe at that she was just forced into the role because of the nature of what happened. So it's like, you look after him.
Yeah, and I think as well it's...
rather than actually explicitly making her the medical officer.
Yeah. I think alongside the themes of lack of control, because like you say, it's like she didn't have control over, like, she didn't pass her medical exams. She almost kind of, she didn't have control in all the areas of the narrative, and so that's kind of shown there. But I think another theme is probably the consequences of this like corporate entity or corporations cutting corners or like not being responsible, I guess. So allowing her to be the medical officer even though she hasn't passed her exams. Allowing someone with a criminal record onto the ship, and so there's kind of there's a lot of repercussions from or allowing this young untrained, unqualified apprentice kind of character onto the ship as well. Like someone with no qualifications, no training makes up 25% of the 20% of the
crew.
My bad maths. But yeah, that's that kind of that I think is a through line here.
And I would have thought as well that because the news they get, because you had to break the news where they're going out of business and they're ending the jobs, which is another reason for this. I think that's the other catalyst point, isn't it? That when they get back to Earth, there's no way of getting back off Earth on another ship, which I presume is what Jimmy's plan was.
Right.
So because like Curly's the captain, so he'll go off and do something else probably, and Jimmy has a go at him about that, which I think is a bit unfair. But Jimmy's plan was, I think, get on a ship for a year and then get on another one and get on another one, and you can just spend the rest of your time. But I think he says something like, I've just got to try and survive back on Earth or something.
Right. Yeah.
And also as well, his crime, it can't be hidden.
Yeah. No.
There's a child on the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're going to be 200 odd days left when she tells him.
Something like that.
And so that child is going to be born.
Yeah.
With a quick bit of maths, 9/30 is 270.
Don't look at me, I can't even count to 5.
You can't do a simple percentage. 270 days roughly for 9 months, and obviously she's already pregnant, so that child's going to be born on the ship. So that cannot be hidden. And then these are the sort of elements, and he will not take he won't take responsibility. Just a nice terms. I don't know if there are other things we want to talk about the story, because there's some nice environmental storytelling.
Yeah,
I did want to sort of the one point. Did you notice? I don't know if you noticed where Anna was sleeping afterwards. After the crash, they're all sleeping in the main sort of
the
cafeteria,
lounge.
eating area. Did you notice she was sleeping next to the movement activated statue?
Movement activated statue.
You know the polar that sort of statue.
The horse.
Yeah. That's in the corner, isn't it? And when you go up to it,
if
it's
someone
voice
walks
act.
by it, they'll make a sound and alert. Yeah,
interesting. Yeah,
no, I noticed that.
Yeah, so she's sleeping next to that. When you go, because when you walk past it a few times, I walk past it, sort of exploring, investigating. It kicks off. You don't have to press on it. It's motion activated.
Yes.
So her bedroll is next to that.
Yeah.
Which I thought was quite a nice touch. So if anyone was going near her, that would kick off. Yeah,
the environment's just in general is
it's very small.
It's just it's compact, tight, but does a great job at
utilising that space.
Yeah, and just obviously once the crash happens, you see the foam everywhere from the trying to keep the
integrity of the ship.
And you see the decay over time, the longer they spend in there, and all the bottles of mouthwash appeing.
So I think something we haven't mentioned sort of thing is they find out you find out quite early on.
Mouthwash.
Yeah, why is this game called Mouthwashing? So they're a deep space hauler from 387-day trip. They're on more than a year, and after the crash, they say we're going to break into the hold. To find out if there's something useful in there, because they've only got 4 months of air and lacking, things like, is there something that can help us? So they break in, they get the code. You get the code scanner. You have to do this in the sort of video gamey type. Go find the thing and do the thing. And so you get in there, and then there's a cut, and you don't. I think there's a cut before you find out what it is, and you come back, and someone's holding a bottle of mouthwash.
Like, is this it?
Yeah, and so you're just traveling with millions of boxes of rubbish mouthwash that don't work.
It's got too much sugar content to even be effective as mouthwash.
So there's this useless stuff. So people are spending over a year of their life transporting crappy mouthwash from one side of the solar system to another for no good reason. And it's like, no wonder they're going out of business, this company. But that's why it's called mouthwashing. But they find out it's got 14% ethanol. So they can use it as booze.
And
that's what they do. Mainly one of them.
Two of them. The
Daisuke does a bit. He does a bit.
Yeah.
He does. I think he does at one point. You find him passed out.
He's passed out in the corridor.
But I think after that he's learnt his lesson. He's done I don't want to hang over.
Yeah, never again.
Yeah, whereas Swansea's a bit more hardened.
Yeah.
And so these characters, like, they just, and Anya never drinks, and you can understand why.
Yes.
She never wants to be she never wants to lose control. She never wants to be in a situation where she might.
Yeah. Well, and also she's pregnant.
She's pregnant. Yeah. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. But that's essentially why it's called mouthwashing. So you find these huge reservoir of mouthwash in lots of boxes. But yeah, then the over the cuts when it goes past the crash just get worse and worse. There's just mouthwashing, mouthwash bottles.
The environment slowly starts to degrade.
Yeah, the machines like kind of break down.
You've got like an axe, like a axe has been cut into the vending machine.
Yeah, and the screen,
the nighttime, daytime.
Yeah, which showed like a visual to make you feel like, we're not floating through space. Here's a nice sunset to keep everyone happy. That gets smashed. There's. Just a really good environmental storytelling, as well as just a real, like, unsettling kind of location to kind of be inside of. But the way they show progression of the game over time, using the space itself, good.
Yeah, where she mentions the sleeping quarters. Where are they?
They'll be behind the wall of foam somewhere.
It's just outside of the lounge.
You find his, but it's because
I'm assuming
captains.
Curly goes through this a couple of times. If you go there, he goes, "Oh no, I've got to go here." But that's just a dead end with one door.
I assumed maybe it goes off to other doors.
So you might think it might just be a corridor with them all in.
Maybe.
Potentially, actually.
Because it has like toilet symbol on it. And
I just got the impression that was his room.
Yeah, it did make it seem like that, to be fair.
But that probably makes sense. I was trying to sort of put them in space as to where is that?
Yeah, because there were a few doors that got blocked off that you never really... It never really told you what
a ship is going to have so many... the engine room and all this kind of thing that we never see. Yeah. They just kept it what was important for the...
I mean, they effectively cut stuff off really well by using the foam.
Yeah.
It's a very natural way to kind of cut off.
Yeah, it's a good justification for limiting the player exploration of the ship. Yeah.
So
rather than just having like beams come down and like...
Or just the worst thing of just an invisible
a
wall
box or...
I can't possibly climb over this foot-high box.
Yeah.
So in terms of, again, coming back to the theme of the podcast, something you take away from this, if you're a small team, is like, think of a realistic, good way. If you can't do it's hard to do a massive environment. If you want to do a detailed, small environment, keep your environment small, but think of a good way, a realistic way that limits it.
Yeah.
That gives you I did think going to the door and him going, oh no, I have to go out. So it was a bit of
possibly go in here just now.
Yeah. So you're like, okay.
I have to tell them.
Yeah. I mean, but it's fine. I mean, I didn't feel like I was like, I'm not allowed in these. Yeah, whatever. But it's just one of them things.
I suppose they needed a door that did hint to further ship.
Yeah. You have to.
When the ship is all right, not blocked up, because after the crash, it's all blocked by foam. But I think they do. That's a good job that they do in making that space feel. Yeah, because it loops, doesn't it? You go around. You can go down the stairs. You can go down to two sets of stairs, one corridor to the cockpit and the lounge
and the medical
bay, which is off the lounge sort of thing. Yeah, that's it really. Oh, and the utility room.
Yeah.
And the mysterious vent.
The mysterious vent.
Yeah.
But I think they worked really well with the limitations. Obviously, they've gone with an art style and had limitations associated with that.
Yeah.
They've not had verbal dialogue. They've gone with it's just written text, and but the one that made me laugh was the no walking animations for Daisuke.
He's a condemned mannequin.
But it was really unsettling because obviously you don't see he doesn't walk. He doesn't have a walking animation. But if you're not looking at him because he follows you at one point in the story, if you're not looking at him and walking, you'll hear footsteps behind you. You'll turn around and he's there behind you. But if you keep looking at him and walk backwards, he doesn't move. He just stares at you. Yeah. But if you turn around again, you hear and then you turn around and he's closer again.
I did that when I walked to the cockpit because there's quite a decently long corridor.
Yeah,
and I heard him walking behind me and I saw him like pause for a second when I looked at him, so I just walked all the way down. He was just stood there And then I just went like,
It's so
and he just like, slowly.
It's so dumb, but it almost felt more unsettling than if you would have just walked.
The thing is, they do have a walking animation in there as well.
So, is it? Yeah, because they have it for the player character.
Yeah.
Because at one point you can see him.
See him walking along.
So why wouldn't they just? Because I'm assuming the models aren't that dissimilar. Why couldn't they have just used that same animation? It's almost like a design choice to not. Maybe it was just like, can't be bothered. That's just extra work. It's an extra day's work to do all this stuff. We'll just leave it. We'll leave it as it is.
Yeah,
it could cause issues with the animation, with clipping into walls and stuff. Maybe.
Yeah, but
like,
the character.
You'd also the one where you see him walking. That's the bit right towards the end, isn't it?
Yeah,
Where
on the
kind of
TV
walking,
screen. Yeah.
when he's walking across that thingy, it's a straight bit of walking, like you said.
Yeah.
When you got if you walk around, if you walk around the other side of the table, they've got a nav mesh.
It's got to have pathfinding.
Nav meshes to get it.
And it's the only instance of that in the game. So it's. There's a character following you.
There's a bit where Anya just appears when you smash the phone to get the
you just turn
box.
around and she's just in the doorway.
You're there. Well, was that way, and then you go. So I look back in there for her, and I turn around. I was like, oh.
See, I didn't do. I turned the opposite way, and then I went off looking for her.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I went and looked for her in the.
I didn't even see that she was there.
Yeah, you're there. Oh, okay. So that I think it's just a development thing.
Yeah.
I think if you're just walking someone across it, that's just moving them on the axis and just animating like that.
That's fine. Pathfinding around stuff in the environment. But the characters model themselves, you could walk through it.
Yeah, I did that at one point. I just like stood inside the head and just looked around. Empty.
Yeah,
but it's fine.
And you get used to it, sort of thing, and it gets away with quite a lot because it does have that PS1 aesthetic.
Yeah.
So it goes for that sort of that very popular modern PS1 look.
Yeah.
With the sort of the hands are just a club,
block.
A club with like lines.
A club with lines. Yeah.
Yeah.
It has a nice post-processing effect that's kind of similar to Obra Dinn. Where like in Obra Dinn you've got like that dithering effect for different tones and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you get the same thing in this where it's kind of everything has that sort of pixelated look to make it look older.
But it feels nice and solid. The interior of the ship, it's a nice design. It feels like the the interior of a and the lounge area feels like somewhere that's you go there and it's like everywhere else is just metal grating, just harsh steel walls. Nothing much to it. So I think that works quite well. I actually did really like the level design and the actual sort of visual design of
and the lighting as well is a massive thing in this game as well. Like they use it to make you go in certain directions to sort of make stuff less obvious or more obvious.
Yeah,
and obviously mood as well.
Yeah.
For a lot of those bits. It's very spooky.
Yeah,
in a few bits, like as it's progressing as well, because I think. Probably right at the beginning, everything's quite nice and light, well lit. And then as it progresses, stuff starts to break down. You've got like emergency lights, you've got flickering lights and like sparks and stuff like that.
So and they do that quite well as well with the. I don't know if you want to talk about. Is there anything else you want to talk about in that area?
Environment.
Yeah.
No.
Sequences.
Yeah,
and we'll talk about them when we maybe mention some of the negatives about this game. But I thought generally the story when it's focusing on the story, that was my favourite part of this game.
Yeah,
100%. It's like the story's really interesting, told in a really interesting way, and the pacing keeps you going because no scene really lasts too long, and sometimes it was like. I wanted a bit more, and then you get the weird thing. I was like, oh damn it! And that's a really great feeling to. It's the opposite. It's what you want. You don't want the opposite, which is this scene's gone on forever.
Yeah, you want the player.
This now, I want to know more. Yeah, like you said, when you get the note from the fax machine, and you're expecting to read it, and then it smash cuts. It fades away, and you're like, what does it say? Yeah. And then you're walking. I think when you come back to follow that thing, is a couple of scenes later, and you're walking to thingy, and you can go in your room, and he goes, "No, I've got to go tell them."
Yeah,
and then you go in, and they throw you a birthday party.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's like, oh God. And it just—that's a real. You might have watched it. You definitely have the Fast Show.
Yeah.
You know the Fast Show bit where he's got to tell him that his wife's dead. Ted and Ralph.
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever seen it. Basically, Ted and Ralph are this old guy, and if you know the characters, and he has to go in, and Ralph, it's Ted, isn't it? Ted's wife dies. And Ralph comes in. He's in the pub with his mates, and they're playing this game of you've got to say a vegetable in between every word. So you've got to say I, potato, would, carrot, like, so on.
Yeah.
And then
I feel like I have seen this.
Yeah, and he comes running in, and it's like Ted, I've got something to say. And they're like, no, you got to tell us it. And you got to say a vegetable, and he's like, I don't know what you're on about.
They force him to play the game.
Yeah, and he's like, Ted, carrot, your potato wife, courgette is. I'm trying to think of another vegetable. Cauliflower, dead.
Yeah.
And then he goes, Swede.
Cabbage.
Yeah. At the end, and they're all going, oh.
Yeah.
And it felt like that. It felt like this kind of like this dreadful news, but we're in a party. And then when he does tell them, they're all dead angry.
Yes.
Yeah. You have to go through that whole sequence of making the cake.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're like, what is this news? And they drag it out, and you're doing this sequence of like. And I thought that was actually. I've read people. Some people don't like that sort of that mechanic bit of making the cake.
Right.
That just felt like to me like a survival horror trope, mixing two things to make a thing to defeat the monster.
Well, they had to have something in there other than walking about.
But they make it. You've got to use the code scanner to read the secret code to get the sweetener or whatever.
Yes,
because they don't want that kind of dystopian aspects as well are really good. The captain can have the sweetener.
Everything has to go through the captain.
Yeah, everything, the axe, everything, but only the captain is. But like you can't have anything tasting nice.
Yeah.
Everything has to be plain and rubbish and boring and horrible. Unless the captain says, well, we can have it. And you can only have one birthday per crew.
One communal birthday.
Yeah. And things like that in amongst all this. So you kind of forget this news that you've got to give him. And I like the way that they paced that in the way that it was delivered. And then when you do get it, it's like almost like it cuts again, doesn't it? When you come back, they're all just dead. He's like, yeah, sorry about that. Or they're going bust.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a typical like toffs, peaks and troughs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but it's also like lost the word.
Where'd you get toffs from?
I don't know.
Toffs.
I combined them both.
Toffs and troops.
Like you're going just long enough where you're like, maybe you're starting to get a tiny bit bored, and then it cuts away or whatever, and then
the pacing is good, and I think they use the smash cuts to support that. The flashbacks, the non-linear storytelling, all works kind of really well.
And they tell it in order as well that's not sequential.
Yes.
They'll jump back 6 days, they'll jump back 2 months, they'll jump forward 5 months, they'll jump forward 3 months, 2 months, whatever.
Yeah.
And then partway through they start going, they change it up as well, and you get like 6 hours before judgment.
Until judgment, yeah.
Yeah. And they have things like 0 days before the crash and all this kind of thing.
Because it starts off, it says 0 days before the crash. That's the first thing you see.
Yeah.
But the first thing you see is the sort of, I like that beginning bit as well, and again it sets the whole thing up, is the spaceship Tulpa, you're on this dude's trip, blah 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 blah. I hope this hurts.
Yes, that stuck out to me as well.
I was like that's what's that?
Yeah, because it like all the text disappears, but then the last line sticks.
This hurts. Yeah,
for like a few more seconds.
Yeah. So so in terms of delivering, like keeping the hooks open for a narrative, because it's obviously a narrative heavy game.
Yeah,
they keep those hooks quite. You think first of all, you're like, why did we crash? And I like the way you've got misdirection to start off with, because for a long time in this game you think Curly caused the crash.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they misdirect you in that. You're thinking, why did he do it? And because you get all those bits from the beforehand where he's having those sort of crisis of career, like what am I doing? And he has that big hallucination where he walks down the massive thing and falls into that big pool of blood.
Yes.
And walking along, and all the sort of
and the ladders
and the warnings are going off, and the ladders are coming out, aren't they? And then the sun just comes up, and then he's back on the ship and everything. So for a long time you think that it's Curly who's done the wrong thing, but it's not. Obviously, we find out later. And that when they actually do show you the crash part, that's really good. That's really, really good. That sequence where you're going down towards the cockpit, and they're doing that smash cut to system failure, and it gets faster, and you see Curly just, Jimmy just on the floor,
outside,
and you're like, what have you done? And you go in and
run in, and then
boom, just all flashes to white, and then you know what's happened to him because you've seen what's happened to Curly. and obviously we've seen Curly, and he's got no skin, he's got no feet, he's got no
one
hands,
eye.
he's got one eye that's constantly open. All he can do is scream until he gets his meds.
Yeah.
And when you do
Yeah.
feed him his meds, it's a horrible, horrible sound effect.
Yeah, maybe we should talk about the sound design actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, sound design's a good one. Yeah.
It's incredible. for
It's
this
very
game.
good. I did think when the game started, I was playing Firewatch.
Right. Okay.
That music sounded very similar. It's like an indie game sort of synth piano.
Yeah.
Piano 101. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this sounds very
But it
familiar.
works,
It works. I was
Yeah.
just like, okay, yeah, I'm playing an indie game.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
just the sound, the fact that when
But
you
the
talk
sound
about
effect.
feeding
it's
Kelly
awful.
the painkillers and it cuts to black,
Yeah.
and
Just
so which almost
Makes it
because
worse.
it makes it worse because it's all up here, what you
Yeah.
imagine, and it just plays the sound effects, and it's not good.
It's a really sound is so powerful when it's used in the right way. And here it's perfectly good. And then because in the later one, when you heard Jimmy smacking him,
Yeah.
beating him up as well, you're like, oh, this is really unpleasant.
Yeah.
It's the only time you hear a human voice as well, I think, in it as well, because he's kind of like moaning, or there's a bit where he's like laughing and stuff like
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
And that's all when it's cut to black.
Yeah,
and
he's
you
the only
just-
character you hear his voice. The only human character, his
Yeah.
voice you hear.
Yeah.
You hear things through like the TV and stuff. And,
Oh, I suppose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's the cartoons.
You get the.
and the
Did
horse
you watch all those?
mascot. yeah, the
Yeah.
horse mascot towards the end when he speaks to you.
Oh
speaks
yeah.
to Jimmy.
What were they called?
Yeah.
Cell or-
What's his name? Pony.
Pony.
Is his name Pony?
I think
A
it's
horse?
Pone, isn't it? Because it's Pony
I swear
shipping.
it was something else.
I thought it was Pony because it's the shipping container. That's why it's a pony.
It's Pony Express.
Pony Express. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it was like it had
sure
two
it's-
L's and an E at the
Polly.
end.
Polly or something
Polly
like
or
that.
something.
Polly?
I
Yeah.
think it's something like that.
Oh, maybe it's Pony
Maybe.
Express is the thing, isn't it?
It's the
I
name
think
of
it
the
was.
name
I
of the
can't remember.
company, yeah. But anyway, but yeah, the sound's great, and even just there's a section we are going to probably talk about the sort of hallucinogenic sections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was one where the sound was really impactful for me. Was the section where you're in the cargo hold with all the boxes of mouthwashing, and you're having to essentially navigate a
maze of sort of catwalk.
maze of catwalks, and there's an invisible beast
Invisible
causing
horse thing.
all the boxes to move, and if you move while it's near you, it will get you, and so you have to kind of stand still until it goes away. You watch for it, but when it gets near you, the sound, especially if you're playing with headphones, the sound, it's just like, oh my god, because it goes away.
It's the
and then
feeling
comes
of
back.
something coming towards you because
Yes.
it's that increasingly like
It
rumble.
feels like it's right on top
yeah.
of you.
Yeah.
And then you look up with your little scanner and
Yeah,
you see
and you
the
see the
head,
weird
the horse head
horse
sort
head.
of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Yes, that's good. It's too long.
Yeah.
It's too long,
Yeah.
and I don't think it mechanically really fits in this game. I think I'm not quite sure it works.
It did take me out of it a little
Yeah,
bit.
because it's like, as I was saying, this is one of the negatives for me. That any of the mechanical heavy bits,
yeah,
are the parts I kind of like the idea,
yes.
Yeah.
but it feels like it's from this is supposed to be a horror game.
Yeah.
a little bit amnesia.
Yeah,
and
and so-
sections in that where you've got like an invisible
Yeah,
thing.
Yeah.
and what we said at the beginning, this is a psychological horror game. So the horror comes
Yeah.
from being trapped in a situation where you've got there's a few levels of horror in this, but there's Curly. What happens to Curly? So there's the visceral sort of physical horror.
Yes, yeah.
There's what happens to Anya and
Yeah.
being trapped in there, and there's the slowly dwindling supplies in a locked situation, knowing that you're going to run out and
Yeah.
die of either suffocation, starvation, or
Or each
whatever,
other.
and each other.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
those are the three horror, and there's probably others, but that stuck out to me. And I thought that those were way stronger and much more effective
Yeah.
because I could empathise with them than I could with a invisible ghost horse monster.
I think if they'd done it maybe as a cinematic or something like that, it might have been more fitting.
Or just had it just once.
Yeah.
If they'd just had it there and you just had to stand still for a little bit and then complete it,
Yeah, because there are other sections
it just goes on too long.
where they do similar things. Like there's a section where you have to walk backwards.
The whole end sequence is way too long. I was ready for it.
Yeah.
I was well ready for it.
It did keep.
It's like every time I had to do something, and we'll come to one of the other bits in that, but every time I had to, it like jumped into another, I was like, oh God, I'm just ready for this to end now.
Yeah.
You've told your story.
Yeah, I've got the point. Jimmy's messed up.
Yeah, Jimmy's
messed up in the head.
Jimmy's a horrible psychopath. He can't take responsibility for anything he does, and even at the very end, he still doesn't. He takes responsibility for what he did to Curly, but not Anya, which I think is one of the main problems. You know, you're like, oh God, this guy's an awful person.
Yeah.
Terrible person.
And you're playing as him.
Yeah,
most of
the game. Yeah, and you're supposed to be in control, and you're complicit in some of the actions. But that whole end sequence, and I think that's where this game's at its weakest, is when they try and make it into a more mechanical video game.
They try and make it into a game.
Yes.
Rather than a
really interesting narrative walking sim. And I think they could have done those, but they just go on too long. I mean, don't even get me started on the bit in the mausoleum bit where you have to shoot Curly.
Oh, I thought that was...
I didn't mind it, but it's just like, supposedly I did read that there's an achievement if he gets you 12 times.
Oh, it's just an achievement, yeah. If you die to him 10 times,
it's
ending. Called the good ending.
It
doesn't change anything.
Oh, I thought it had. I never did it. I managed to get through it. I think I died a few times.
I didn't die once. I didn't get got once.
I got once because I had no idea he was there, and then he just went around a corner.
I mean, that whole sequence.
It's the speed at which the gun cocks.
Yeah.
And he would always come up behind you. There's also an achievement to spin 360 degrees.
Yeah, I didn't bother with any of that. But just that whole section of you're walking through it and then suddenly you'll see him run past in the distance. I thought that is quite...
It's all right, but I just again, it's too long. Shoot him once.
Yeah.
If you want to shoot him once, I think it's 3 times is too many. It's like you might as well be fighting a piranha plant.
I mean, I didn't have a problem with that section. I thought it was fine. The other one, though, the invisible giant horse weird thing, maybe was a bit too long. But but I thought the sound design was incredible.
There was some cool bits with it. It's just that the one
where it's like a weird centipede of horse mascots running through a vent.
It's the baby.
The baby centipede horse.
Because baby is born, isn't it? So it's his fear of like the pregnancy.
Yeah. So that I mean. Well, I didn't know what I was supposed to do in that bit. I was like...
No, I didn't either.
I just kept going.
And then suddenly,
that was...
Suddenly it cut to a corridor of cards.
Oh, the little name...
Oh, yeah. So there was a lot of those bits. Maybe there was too many of them, particularly near the end.
The thing is that at the very beginning, when you're Jimmy and you're going through the corridor and you've got the posters and stuff coming up, that was quite good.
Yes.
Because, like... There's constantly something happening. You're getting that feeling of being lost and getting in that loop, but it's constantly changing, and that felt like a good length.
Yes.
For that, but then these bits were like 4 or 5 times the length.
Yeah, like that bit where you have to go backwards.
Yeah.
You're like,
that wasn't that long though.
It's not that long, but if you don't go backwards and you just have to do it again.
But I messed up once and then I went, oh yeah, it's telling me to go backwards, I'll just walk backwards.
Yeah. I looked into the darkness like 6 times expecting something to change. Yeah. And I was like, oh.
Because I think, at one point sort of thing, because you walk backwards at one point and then there's the flower on the floor. Yeah. It's lit up. So I've gone past it and I thought, I want to look at that. But going forwards,
you can't.
You can't. It's like, I'm back at that bit. And it's like, okay. Again, it's like 3 or 4 times you have to do it and it's like, okay. Then there's the sequence which is my favourite sequence in this whole bit, but I don't know why they make you have to rearrange the internal tubes of Curly.
Yeah,
with the thing.
I mean, when you're feeding him his
leg.
His leg.
I guess it was just a cool visual.
It is. Yeah. But I think if you just fed him it.
I fed him it about 7 times before I realised that I had to rejig.
I did
the opposite.
I did it. That's what I got that one first time.
Yeah,
it's weird how we work. Sometimes, like I fed him it, and I went. Those things are red. Oh, that's turning thing. All right, let's just rearrange them. And I think it took another time or so, and then I got the twist.
It took me ages because I thought initially it goes through, but then that first one's wrong. But it looks like it's right. But I'm like, if it's wrong, it shouldn't. How is it? Anyway, I figured it out eventually. Yeah. But I know.
Suddenly I'm playing a BioShock pipe, puzzle.
Pipe mania.
And it's like, that's what I mean. It's like this game is at its weakest. And I think maybe, as developers, as designers, I can't speak for them, but you feel that they'd have been better off just a bit more confidence to just say, we don't need these. We don't need these sections so much.
Yeah.
What are they actually saying? About the game, about the
because that bit where you feed in the leg, it's not. I mean, I suppose there's a bit of story in the sense that he was feeding himself to keep him alive or whatever, but that was all you really get from that section.
Yeah. So but saying all that, once you get through all that sequence, I really like the bleakness of the ending.
Oh, yeah.
The one person who probably doesn't want to continue living, is stuck
forced into a cryogenic chamber
and told, they might find you in 20 years.
Yeah, and like even if he could survive afterwards, he's just stuck in there.
Yeah,
and like you don't. Obviously, it's very sci-fi with like a cryogenic freeze chamber or whatever, and there's no set way that's gonna work or whatever. So for all we know, he could be stuck in there for 20 years conscious or like having some sort of
dreaming.
Yeah. With all the memories and experience
that guy be having.
Yeah.
So I did like that kind of.
It's incredible.
It's quite a nice piece of music playing, and then it just pops up and says, "Thank you for playing."
Thanks for playing.
It's just like I've just played a Sega arcade game. Because that's what they used to put at the end of a Sega game, wasn't it? Thanks for playing. And you'd be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, you're welcome." But it doesn't tie up that loop. You don't know what happens. It doesn't. It leaves a lot unsaid, I think, and unanswered. And I think it's obviously intentional. Doesn't need to say everything. Some things are open to interpretation. Sorry,
I was going to say probably that's maybe some of that fan fiction about what happens to Kelly at the end.
Well, I think the other thing to just sort of mention is the dialogue. Because I think the dialogue throughout is really very good. The writing in this game is excellent.
Yeah.
And there's some really, really great lines, just like one-liners. And I think Swansea, as the sort of old, the gruff old angry drunk that he becomes, there's a line towards the end where he's talking about he says something along the lines of you keep waking up and you learn new things. You get you get more your knowledge. Oh God, what's the line? It's something I can't remember the line.
Something to do with his experience.
Every time you wake up, something about learning stuff makes you worse.
Yeah, you become more scarred and scratched. And something like that.
And he says, you get everything you learn makes you worse or something. And it's like that knowledge of like you just want to get better but you can't, and everything you trying to do to make yourself feel better, just you wish you never knew. Not knowledge is not always a good thing. Knowing things is not always to your benefit.
Ignorance is bliss.
Ignorance is bliss. Yeah, and you kind of can't go back to the way things were. There's a poem by just to go off on a tangent. There's a poem by Sylvia Plath called the I Mote, which obviously Sylvia Plath killed herself. She was a poet in the 60s, and this poem is about someone who gets something in their eye, and from that moment on they can't see the world in the same way. And it's this thing about you can't go back. Once you know something or something happens, you can't go back to it. Obviously, she was a very depressed person, and it was sort of trying to sort of put. I think my reading of that poem has always been that when you know something, you want the world to go back to how it was before, how you saw it, and that's what I got with Swansea as well. There's this notion that everything he tried to do, like be a perfect father, husband, whatever. It was just like he can't do it, and he's just a. And you really feel for him.
Yeah,
and
there was that
he
speech
said
at the
that
end.
he's like, after all these things, I finally got what I wanted. I was sober and all of this. The greatest days of my life.
It was never enough.
When I was sinking into my sofa, drunk off my mind. Yeah.
It was
those were the best days of his life. Yeah. That was kind of like harrowing.
Yeah.
For someone to voice that, and and that notion of things. Once you know things, you can't change it, or once something's happened, you can't change it. It goes for like things that you say. If you've put something out there and you've said it,
you can't take your words back.
It's like once you've got the toothpaste out of the tube, you can't put it back in.
Yes.
Yeah. That kind of.
So I thought that was that's another sort of theme in this game, that something's happened, it cannot be undone. You can't change things, and taking responsibility of those things is obviously rammed home in the game. But and like there's another good bit as well when he has to kill Daisuke. Which I think they do that quite well as well when they pull the camera back and you just it's just off around the corner is quite nice. It's all not quite nice.
It's quite nice.
It's quite nice, but it's tasty. That's what I mean.
Very
by
nice imagery.
It's not so much a visceral horror game. This apart from the curly bits because they could have just like kept that on him and shown it, but obviously. Again, that would have been like Daisuke's walking animation that have had to done something which wasn't just a gash texture across his face. But that bit where he says, "Oh, I was trying to teach you, but there's a lot I could have probably learned from you." There's some really nice, sort of lines in this.
Yeah, because he kind of gives him a load of hassle throughout the whole thing. He's like, you don't know enough. You're like, we've gotten this intern that knows.
But he takes it on the chin, though, doesn't he?
He's
like,
he's very positive.
He's like, he's a nice guy, actually.
Yeah, he knows what he's on about.
Grumpy,
He
has a lot of respect for him.
Yeah,
and I think he obviously knows that Swansea. He obviously gets that and has a lot of respect back, but he doesn't show it.
Yeah.
But the writing's very good.
Yeah,
as well.
That's what I thought. And I thought
writing, the narrative, the way it's told, very good.
Yeah, very good. And that's why it's weakest when it's not doing those things.
I feel like if they'd just done another that section at the beginning, if they'd maybe done a couple more of those sections or something, like where you're going through the corridors and stuff. If they'd done something of that kind of length, maybe a couple times.
I think they overdo it. And I think this comes back to what your point you were making about the Binding of Isaac, about how, because it's all this viscera and gore and like feces or whatever, and it just kind of loses meaning almost. And so if they'd have not done these massive sections, or particularly at the end of the game, and they'd used it sparingly, I think they would have had more impact probably.
Yeah,
because by the end it was like, I'm walking through, now I'm in his mouth, and
you could argue it adds to the madness because you start to get a bit fatigued.
Maybe that was the intent. Who knows?
Maybe to make you. But I think as a player you're like, I'm ready to be. This is an hour and a half stretched to a couple.
And
that doesn't seem much, but you just when you've got no, you've told your story.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see like when they actually decided to add those bits. Like if they decided right from the beginning, or if they got to a certain point and they were like, do we need to pad this out some more, add more interactable elements?
I mean maybe, because like I said, you had the sequence where's the captain, you fall into the big pool of blood. You've got the horse head and the boxes sequence.
Were
there any? There's the bit. There's because I like the bit. See, the best way they do this, the best one of these sections in the game is the bit where Jimmy and Curly have that conversation, and you got to go find the knife, and you find the axe buried in the back of the captain's chair, which is obviously very obvious symbolism. It's like we stabbed the captain in the back. Blah, blah, blah. But that sequence where where Curly's sort of saying like, sometimes you want that, or sometimes you think your life's great, and sometimes it's just eating a rubbish cake with your best friend. And that, although it's clearly happening in Jimmy's mind, it works really well because it's dialogue. It's not just some weird thing just happening because of some weird thing. It's like exploring the sort of relationship between these two, and what he thinks Curly would actually like, and then that bit at the end I think is quite good, where he does just carry him and put him in the cryopod, and it's just, but the way when he picks him up and where he takes him from, and I think there's some nice sequences like that, and I would have preferred exploration in that direction rather than look at this weirdness.
That's fair,
but that's just me.
Can we talk about how stupid achievements are? Can we talk about that?
I don't know, because it made me sort of pop open his mouth several times.
But I got that, but I hadn't looked at the
to be fair, I hadn't looked at the achievements. When it popped up, I was like,
yes.
Okay,
that one was funny. Opening and closing his mouth, then you get the sock puppet achievement. Yes, haha, that's funny. But it just takes you out of the game. But for me, it was, I'm playing the introductory, like, opening section of the game. The ship's gonna crash. I found this ID badge. And then you get a pop up that goes, "You've started the game."
Yes. Yeah.
I know. I press play on Steam. I know I'm playing the game. I want to be immersed in this game, which is quite an immersive experience. It's first person. There's all this stuff going on. I don't need a little pop up going, "You started playing Mouthwashing."
Yeah. I think the ID cards took me out of it a bit. Yeah. Because like I said towards the beginning, You
I'm
find that
hunting for
first,
them.
yeah, exactly. You
I'm
find
not-
that
I'm
first
not
ID
engaging
card.
with the story. I'm too busy. Where's that? I've got 3 out of 5. I need to find.
So you end up. There were at least like I don't know a handful of times where I went out of my way to explore the areas of the environment that nothing was happening.
Yes, that's why I think for me it took me a lot longer.
Yeah.
Even though I still didn't find all of them, but I was like, oh, I want to see if I can.
And it didn't.
But, like,
it didn't change the story.
It turns it into a video game.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
don't like that. This didn't need
Well,
it.
it basically it kickstarts this thing in your head. So it turns a thing in your head from I just need to move through this environment like I would do to get to the cockpit into a.
I need to check every cupboard
I
and
need to check
cabinet.
every corner. And if anyone was watching you as the captain, they'd have you sectioned because you're like, what are you doing? I'm looking for Swansea's ID card. It's bound to be around here somewhere. Why?
Oh, it's in. I'm looking in this bin for it.
I don't know why. But
Yeah, why? Why am I doing this as the player?
I think there's times and places for achievements in the right kind of game.
Yeah.
So arcade games, things like that. But I think this would have been better. I think you're right. It needed to sort of be like, just let me be in the game.
Just experience the story.
Let me have the experience as intended. I don't need a little.
And then pop up an achievement at the end. Just have one achievement saying completed game.
Yeah, that would have been fine. And I don't mind being taken out then, but I'm literally just minutes in, and the pop up saying
because it would have fitted much better on that thank you for playing.
And also,
screen.
That's not an achievement. Starting the game, is it? I've not done anything special.
I don't know, sort of thing. Out of my Steam list, my Steam list of shame, sort of thing. Which games I've never even started.
Well, that's true.
That would be
the
quite
funny
the
thing is with
achievement.
that achievement, it's like 99.9% of players have got this achievement. So some people have loaded the game up and not even got that far.
Yeah, they're just.
And 1.1% of people who've played Mouthwashing haven't even
Well,
got that far.
doesn't it open up on? It opens up on the sunrise, doesn't it? And then it pans back and Curly is laid on the table, isn't it?
Maybe.
That's the title screen.
Yeah.
Maybe they've gone. Oh, it's in for me.
Maybe, yeah.
I feel like you get the achievement before that.
No, it's after the title screen. They've got someone's got to the title screen and gone, no, not for me.
Yeah, but I'm saying like when you see Curly on the table, I think you've already got the achievement.
No, the menu screen.
Because the game starts off with the sun, and then it moves back, and then he's laid on the table, and you get the options on the left.
Yeah.
Start to change the graphics details.
Yeah,
the front
maybe
end.
they did then.
So I presume that the pop up comes when you press start, and
It's during in the cockpit when you're crashing the ship. That's when it all happens.
Yeah. I mean, I played it about a few weeks back, so I can't remember when it popped up for me. But obviously, I played it today.
Yeah. And then you got those weird achievements where you have to open up the console and put cheats in to fly through the level and stuff like that. Yeah.
Don't need it. Doesn't need it. You don't need it.
You don't.
They're a curse.
You don't. Yeah, they're good in some games.
Yeah, they have their place, like you say. But just I think games should be able to opt out and say we don't have achievements.
I mean, I don't think they need to add achievements.
Well, why did they?
It's not a
this?
requirement.
I don't think they just did not need it.
Yeah.
Having release games on Steam, it's a choice.
Yeah, and for story stuff like that, where it's all about the experience, it just I can understand like if you're doing one of those like big AAA games where there's different acts and stuff, you can kind of use that to see your progression or whatever. But
well, I mean, when I did Shudder, there was achievements which were like. To encourage like certain types of play, it was like get this score without trying this, do that with this ship. Can you get here? Can you get 1,000,000 points? Can you get 100 bugs on screen? That kind of thing. So like extra little challenges. And I thought that was a good way of using them to challenge the player, like the pacifist mode in Geometry Wars. I think you've got to survive for either a minute or 2 minutes without shooting.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, like, these sound like again challenges or achievements.
Yeah.
Not starting the game.
Or kill 53,385 whatever it is zombies in Dead Rising.
Yeah.
That works for skill-based stuff.
Well, it's the population of the town. When you're flying into the town, it says "Welcome to Willamette population 52,000," something like that, and you have to in one playthrough of 3 days you've got to kill over 50. You've got to kill that more. But
one of my crowning achievements as a game designer was on table mini golf for the PlayStation Vita, and I got to design the achievements, and one of them was because there were hazards that you could destroy your golf ball in, like lava or whatever. It was like destroy 100 golf balls, but the name of the achievement was Expendables.
Very good.
Yeah. I was very proud of that. It's probably my proudest ever moment as a game designer.
You should just have that on your wall in your office, just that achievement.
Just a little.
I went down a route doing the achievements for Shudder, and I started every one of them with the word beginning with SH.
Okay.
When I got to about the 10th, I'd regretted what I'd done, but I still managed to find enough. I think it's got about 16, 17 achievements, something like that, and it was like, finding words that tangentially fit somehow.
You should have just added them onto just normal words. You complete the game.
No, they're all like buy something in the shop with shopaholic and stuff like that. So they fit. I managed to do them, but I did get to a point where I was like, I've made a terrible choice here, but I'm going to see this through. It was
you have to resort to profanity.
It was almost like an entire afternoon trying to come up with like 17 words.
Just going through the dictionary.
Yeah.
Do you want some feedback?
About Mouthwashing?
Yeah, I managed to get some in short time, but Adam Wachowski says, when I asked if it's a game every designer should play, said it's not. Yeah. Visual novels are mostly quite independent genre. Also, the game itself has a couple of plot holes, doesn't make much effort to present chronological line of the story in a coherent way, but I would argue that's the point.
What plot holes?
Well, it doesn't elaborate. It's not a game for everyone. It's not a good example to follow. It has become popular because of its frightening plot, but for me, the explanation we got at the end was far-fetched. That's the bit of feedback that we've got. I think there's a few holes in the argument, but I think to be fair, the game isn't for everybody.
Yeah,
the game isn't for
everyone,
that's
completely fair. Yeah,
that's fair. I think the game does some things really well, though.
Yes, it does absolutely. Yeah.
And I think its writing, but I would argue that its pacing and plot and the way it delivers that narrative are very good. And it's not a visual novel.
No, but I guess it's a walking sim. It's a walking sim.
And I think it's at its strongest.
But I think
it is a walking sim.
It sounds like they're complaining, like, well, this story wasn't told in order. How am I supposed to follow what's happening?
Yeah.
But that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
That, but again,
don't watch Memento.
Don't watch Memento. Do not.
Don't watch it.
But if you enjoyed Mouthwashing, you should watch Memento. But I thought it was similar to. There's like a subset of games where it's like kind of PlayStation 1 era graphics, horror type. Paratopic is another one. Have either of you played that?
No. I haven't. No, I haven't actually played many of these sort of this wave of PS1.
There's a lot of them.
There is a lot of them. I've got Crow County to play,
right?
Which is kind of a more sort of third person fixed camera angle. I think.
Yeah.
Look by the looks of that one. I've got that to play at some point.
But I played Paratopic last night because it's like 45 minutes to an hour. It doesn't even have a save feature.
Oh, okay.
It's like it tells you at the beginning, this game has no save feature. It's to be played in one sitting.
We get quite. I mean, and to be fair, I think we've had quite a few of our students make them.
Yes,
they seem to be popular at the moment with our students who are.
Redacted is very
well. There was Redacted. There was the one when you were walking around the factory.
Yeah.
With the fixed camera angles.
Yes, yeah.
There was the one for Collaborative, which was the one in the sort of hotel.
Yeah.
And I think there's been others as well that have gone for this kind of PS1 aesthetic.
Yeah. And it's fine. It works.
It's fine. When it works, it works.
When it works, yeah. So, the verdict then. Is this a game every designer should play?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's a good 2 hours. It's a good 2 hour experience just to sort of see something different.
It's 3 hours if you're looking for all of the.
Yeah, just ignore the achievements. I would just put the achievements aside on this and just go and play the story, do the bits that it's asking you, and I think it does. I was going to say just one last thing. It does fall down on a little bit of go here, do this, here, do this, but there's a really great bit in it where you're having to go at Anya, and you're saying, you're getting me to do these things, and it pops them up at the top.
That is a good bit.
So I kind of almost breaking that fourth wall thing we were talking about earlier, but I really like the way that it does that kind of like, we know we've just been setting you these tasks.
Yeah.
Well, the game knows it, we know it, the developer knows it, you know it, everyone knows it.
Yeah.
And it's like
almost self-aware.
Yeah. So I thought that was quite a nice touch as well, to sort of, because it kind of comes out of nowhere and doesn't do anything similar in any other parts of the game.
No, you have like the different coloured for some of the tasks. Like when he's going insane or whatever, you get the red.
Yeah. Like Feast.
Feast, yeah, abstract sort of. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I did like that bit. So I think there's a lot of good stuff here.
There is.
But just try and just get through the giant horse bit as fast as you can.
I didn't mind it that much, but yeah, it was a bit long.
Yeah, that's its problem.
It was interesting the fact that you were using the scanner and you could only see it if you were using.
Well, you could also see its body on the some of the walkways where they've been dented in.
Yeah, it was just like hair.
It's just it's just its body stretched across them all covered in matted hair like a big snake.
See,
body.
I saw that, but I couldn't understand what I was looking at.
You were looking at its body,
right?
Yeah, there was
that's why they were dented. It was laying on them.
Did you guys actually follow the blood trail? Because I was just constantly like looking.
I was trying to.
Okay. I just ignored.
I was just kind of trying to.
But you can't. It's not like you can go any other direction, is it?
Yeah.
There's a few dead ends you can hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you just look ahead.
Well, yeah,
but
if you're following the blood trail, you hit the dead ends because it leads you to the dip. The broken bit, and you have to find another.
I was just looking at
come back to it.
The railings, and
I was just kind of trying to see where the path was sort of heading onwards, and but again, draw distance wasn't the best thing, which is the PS1 thing, I guess. But
we never talked about that like ultrasound scene. Where you got the scanner and you're like,
no, we didn't. That was,
that was very bizarre.
Yeah, there's a lot of bizarre bits.
With like the horse inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. At first, it took me until the end of the game. I was like, why is there so much horse? Like
horse related.
Pony Express.
And then I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's it for this episode of
Games Every
Forgot the name of our own podcast. Games Every Designer Should Play. If you're passionate about game design and enjoyed the podcast as much as Swansea enjoys an ethanol-based cocktail, then don't forget to subscribe, like it, leave us a nice comment or review, share it on social media, tell your friends. We are at Should Play Pod on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads and YouTube. Join in the conversation and suggest some games you'd like us to cover on future episodes. But all that's left for us to say is thanks for watching/listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.